mind, it might suddenly start streaming on YouTube as well if you've started streaming on your YouTube channel.
Right, I think I have. So if you got, oh yeah, yes, I am now live.
Fantastic. I will confirm that by going into your channel in my YouTube subscriptions, and yeah, you're live.
Okay, cool. Thanks, mate, for your help.
No worries. I'll speak soon.
See ya. Bye, mate. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Don't know why I'm typing actually. Can I just do a check that you can hear me okay? Excellent. Yeah, halfway through typing that, I was like, why am I typing? Anyway, hello Andy, it's just me and you at the moment. Hopefully some others will join. What are you imaging? Ah, you're on Barnard 33. Nice, nice. That's close to the moon. How's the guiding now? We've looked at your regression numbers. Welcome anyone who's just joined. So I'm currently shooting hydrogen alpha on M31, Andromeda Galaxy. I'm drinking a nice bit of red. What's everyone else imaging tonight? That's not too bad. I'm currently at 0.6. The guiding on this HEM 44 is absolutely exceptional, gotta say. So far I've managed to capture I got about a good 4 hours last night before the snow clouds rolled in, and then tonight I finished off what I was imaging last night with a bit of green filter and some luminance. Got a couple of hours of luminance. I've got about 3 hours of luminance. And I'm going to just shoot about another 90 minutes of RGB just to finish that off, and that should be done. I'm hoping you can see the angle of the telescope there on the left hand side. I'm hoping I should get it done before it dips down too low, before I lose it behind the fence. So who we got in the chat at the moment? Say hello, don't be shy. Are you done, are you, Andy? You're not going to slew to anything else? Flaming stars quite nicely positioned. Bit close to the moon, I think. I was looking at yesterday. I was looking at I had my second rig set up, and I was looking at the Rosette Nebula, and it was just far too close to the moon. It was just, the gradient on it was just bonkers. Even with a narrowband filter on it, it was just. Hi Harrison, how you doing? Thanks for popping in. I would have streamed earlier, but I was watching the end of the darts. Been watching it all over Christmas. I could not watch the final. I won't any spoiler alerts if anyone's not seen it. So I've got another 20 minutes on my hydrogen alpha filter, and then I'm going to switch over to my red and do some RGB, finish off those with some 60-second exposures, 30 minutes of each. Hoping I can get this one done tonight. Not sure when the next clear night is actually, let's have a look. I'd like to do something around Orion, but with the moon the way it is, it's just not worth it. To be fair, Monday evening not looking too bad. I don't know if anyone's ever used this app, Scope Nights. It's quite good. I'm going to probably do about another hour and a half. No work tomorrow, so I might make the most of it. I've got to do the good old flats, dark flats, get them done and pack away. But beauty of having now these lightweight mounts, it's so easy just to pack away. Did anybody get any Astro gear for Christmas? The wife bought me a new Cokin light pollution filter for my DSLR, so I'll give that a go. When the moon buggers off, I'll get my Skywatcher GTI out and put the DSLR on there and do some wide field stuff, but just no point while the moon's so bright. Who else we got in here? Don't be shy, say hello. Where you from? Are you out imaging tonight? Let me know. We've all done that one, Andy. Amount of times I've had to shoot them the next day. Yeah, do them tomorrow. I am actually debating whether to do that myself, because my setup is pretty much all one unit, if you like. I don't just take the camera off. I might just shoot them tomorrow. Put a blanket over the top. Make sure no light leaks. That guiding's holding steady. It's around 0.6 at the moment. Yeah, time to bring it in, mate. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that bit. It's absolutely freezing tonight. I think it's about -4 here at the moment. I might do mine tomorrow. Not the best practice. Better to do it on the night, but it's so cold out there. Two more to do on the hydrogen alpha. it will flip over to the red filter. Luminance has come out really nice on this. Evening, Dean. Welcome. Are you out imaging tonight? Dean, you doing anything? We just popped in. So the rig I'm using tonight is my EDQ 70 from Altair. I've got it rigged on my Ioptron HEM 44. I'm using the 26M mono camera. Currently using a 3nm hydrogen alpha filter, just trying to get some of the nebulosity within Andromeda. So that's what I'm imaging, Harrison, is the Andromeda Galaxy M31. It's not recommended to shoot a broadband target on a full moon, but I was really struggling with targets to image. Everything I want to image is all around Orion, and it's just too washed out with the moon at the moment. And I haven't done Andromeda for a couple of years, and I thought, you know what, sod it, I'm going to do it. So yeah, imaging M31, and this scope frames it lovely. And I did about 4 hours last night, and I've done approximately another 4 hours tonight, so I should have a good collection of data there. Hopefully the gradient's not too bad on it, but we'll see what I get. So what mosaic you doing, Dean? Your guidance just shot off the graph. Is that after a meridian flip by any chance? I know mine does that sometimes. Yeah, I'll be sharing those on my Instagram. Probably not tomorrow, probably be Monday evening when I get around to editing it. Maybe so that'll probably be Tuesday morning before I get it onto my Instagram. See how it goes. I've done a few mosaics over the years. I did a massive one of the Val Nebula, which was 6 panels. That was some doing. I had to stitch them 2 at a time, and then used AstroPix processor to stitch the 3 mosaics I had left from the 6. So I had to kind of do it in 2 and 2 and 2, and then I did the final 3 together, and it managed okay. It was a big panel though. It was a big mosaic. Don't recommend it. I might stick to 2 panels from future. Oh, nice, the question mark. Yeah, it's just you can get all the actual question bit in, but it's the actual dot, isn't it? You have to do the 2 panel mosaic. I did have a look at that actually for me, but I wasn't sure. So just on the last exposure now for my hydrogen alpha. You can definitely see some traces there of the nebulosity within M31, so hopefully they'll come out nice. I have to say though, the optics on this 70 DQ are absolutely fantastic. You go right to the corners here. There's just no funny shaped stars. It's absolutely pinpoint, and you got really good separation. I'm not sure if it's going to be very clear on YouTube, but look at the separation there between those. It's good guiding, and a good telescope really does help. I used to have a William Optics GT81, and again that's another fantastic telescope. Highly recommend that one as well. But I just wanted a slightly shorter, slightly lighter weight telescope without the need of a flattener. And I spoke to N.I.N.A at Altair and managed to get hold of a very nice 70 EDQ with serial number 2 on it. So. Oh wow, 23.5. Cable snag maybe. Cold weather, it does tend to happen. The cables get a little bit stiff and can affect the guiding. What mount are you using, Dean? Saying that, mine's gone above an arc second. I'm not happy about that. Hopefully that'll come back down in a minute. Yeah, that'll smooth out in a minute. Chose M31. Oh, nice HEQ, great mount. Somebody loaned me one while I was having issues with. Oh, is that the new one? Is that the one they just released? I did look at that one, but I ended up getting this Ioptron M44. Yeah, somebody loaned me a HEQ 5 with the Rowan belt mod, and yeah, it's so steady as a rock. The only reason why I went for the slightly heavy, I didn't go for it in the end, the HEQ 5R, was just because of the limited payload. I needed something that could carry up to 18 kilograms for the sky at night work I do. Just it can I'm not sure what telescopes I might be sent to review, so it's better to have something with a higher payload, and the HEM can go up to 20 kilograms without a counterweight and 25 with, so there's nothing they can throw at me really that I can't manage. Anything else really should be going into an observatory above 20 kilograms in my mind, so yeah, can't see you've been sent anything silly to manage. Guidance settled back down now to 0.6, which is pleasing. Good. 30 more seconds and we'll move on to the red filter. Anybody going to pass this year? See, Altair have been advertising it. I'll be there, hopefully. Be nice to see everybody. Yes, mate, it's on the 26M. Nice field of view with the 26M. I have got the 585M, but that would just be too close a crop. I'm going to be using that a lot in Galaxy season up and coming, I think. I've got to say though, the 26 and the 585 are fantastic cameras. The sensitivity on them, I think the quantum efficiency is like above 95%, which is just bonkers really. So just going through the autofocus on red filter. No backlash there evident, which is nice. I was just looking, actually, I've got about 4 hours of luminance, which is probably a little bit too much, but it allows me to be very picky on the data I use. Yeah, the 533, yeah, that's a really good camera. Is that the square? I'm just looking now. Is that the square sensor one? I know they had the square sensor, which is great, and you haven't got to really worry about. Yeah, pretty much square, isn't it? Yeah. Great for galaxies. Ah, nice. Ah, so you want the pair. What would you do? Use the 533C for 4 galaxies and clusters, etc., and use the mono for the nebulosity. That's what I tend to do. I tend to use my, apart from this one because I wanted to shoot some HA, but I tend to use my colour for galaxies and clusters, and then use the mono for the more fainter stuff. But another 10 seconds ish, the first red should drop. Let's have a look, see when it's coming out right. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. Good detail. And the galaxy arms. Nice tight stars, which is great. Not too much gradient, so all being well. Oh yeah, somebody at my astronomy group does that. They have their mono shooting and then the RGB, the colour one for the stars, etc. It's a good way of doing it on their dual setup as well. They've got two 60 EDs set up alongside each other. It's right if you've got a permanent setup to do that. I couldn't be bothered doing that every night, I've got to say, every time I want to set up each the row. But now he's had some fantastic images, and obviously you're getting double the whammy with the data. Have you noticed a big difference between the cooled and the uncooled there, Dean? I did when I switched over, because I used to have the 183C, and it was such a pain with darks. and trying to calibrate out the beautiful star of that you got with the sensor. But when I switched over to a cool camera, it was. Oh,
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Alexa's trying to help there or something. But when I switched over to the cool camera, it was so much better. Shoot your dark library, don't have to worry. Night, Andy. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Thanks for your help getting me this up and running. My first stream, live stream. So, yeah, Andy helped me get it going. So thanks, mate. All the best. Yeah, and we'll talk about PASS. See what we're doing. Yeah. There's more noise with the 585. That's interesting. Is that just because, I guess that was just because it was uncooled. When I started the hobby, I used to use a DSLR, full frame Nikon, and the sensor noise was just, wasn't too bad, but yeah, it was calibrating it out. But I could notice the difference when I switched over to a dedicated Astro camera. The noise did drop away. The only, I suppose, if you were using an uncooled or a DSLR, all I'd say is you need to capture more data. So if you're doing 2 hours with a cool camera, I'd say you probably need to do 3 to 4 hours with an uncooled, just to try and help with the signal to noise ratio. It's the only thing I'd probably say, but yeah. Have you still got your 585, or have you sold it on? Sat in the box, yeah. Yeah, it is tricky. I've got a drawer full of old Astro gear that I probably need to sort out and either donate it to somebody or just put it on as a bundle. Things you buy when you start the hobby thinking, oh, this is going to be a good idea, this is going to help me loads, and then you probably use it twice, think it's terrible, and never use it again. got about, tend to lose, I've got about another 50 minutes before, so I'm not going to get this finished. I might adjust this just to do 15 minutes of each, because I'm just not going to get that done tonight, because I'll tend about 30 degrees, I'll lose it behind the houses. Let's see how that comes out. So I've just changed it to do 15 minutes extra on the RGB. What's the most random item you probably bought and never used? I was terrible for buying stuff on AliExpress, thinking, oh that's good, and I've had some really rubbish purchases, and I think, what a waste of money that was. I remember buying, I used to have a Mac, and I watched somebody put like a kind of a focuser adjuster on this Mac, and I tried to replicate it, and it was just a car crash. I bought all the parts, and I just couldn't get it to work like he had it working. So yeah, I ended up taking it off, and that's sat in the drawer somewhere. Our boiler packed in just before Christmas, so I won't be buying any Astro gear anytime soon. I've got a new one being fitted in a couple of days. Worst time of year for it to go. It's been absolutely Baltic at the moment. It's one of those things. I've got the Star Adventurer GTI. I've used it with my grandson, and and I also use it for the moon and a bit of solar. But I've got a DSLR that I want to pop on it and go out and try and do some wide field stuff. I've got a nice 20mm f2 lens that I want to use, and like I said, my wife bought me a Kokin light pollution filter that screws onto the front of the lens. So I'm going to go and give that a go. If I get a moonless night between now and the end of February, I'd love to try and get a really big wide field of Orion. For those of you who've been following my channel a fair bit, I used to have a SEM 40 iOptron mount, centre balanced one. They're absolutely fantastic mounts when you get them right, but the balancing of it was an absolute nightmare. And I'm not going to lie, it kind of zapped the fun out of the hobby for me. Trying to get the scopes balanced on it, and then it just got to a point where I didn't even want to set up an image, because I just didn't want that fight of trying to balance it. So I ended up parting ways with it. But like I said, when you got it right, the guiding on it was absolutely tremendous. It really was good. but I just wanted something simple, and I also have to carry my mount up and down some steps out of the garage down to the garden, so I wanted something quite lightweight. So I switched over to harmonic mount. So obviously I've got the Zhui 17 that I use when I'm running 2 rigs now. But my main mount now is this Ioptron M44, and I'm not joking. The guiding on it is from the best mount I've ever had. It is sub 0.7 pretty much all the time. Sometimes, obviously, like any mount, it will peak. It'll go up to like 1 arc second, but typically it'll sit between 0.6 and 0.7 pretty much all night. It's just jumping, as I say, that it jumps above 0.7, doesn't it? But yeah, it will just sit around that, and it really does help with the clarity on your images. It really does. And for UK skies being so turbulent, anything under 0.8, 0.9, I think is good guiding in this country for the scene that we get. The Zhui sits around 0.7 to 0.9 comfortably, and for a budget harmonic mount, that's been my buy of the year. The only reason why I don't use it more is because I've paid out for this M44. So my Zhui is my kind of second mount that I kind of use on a grab and go if I want a quick setup. But if I'm doing something like I have tonight, a long setup, I'll use the hem. So you bought it and never used it, do you? Do you plan to use it? Have you got anything you've got planned for this year that you might do with that Star Adventurer? See, we've got 8 people in here at the moment. Yeah, bought 6. Yeah, I'm bought 5. Yeah, I'd like to. We actually, for my 50th, we went up to the Lake District and we took all my gear up there to do. Hiya, pilot. Good afternoon. Where are you in the world? We went up to the Lake District, hoping to do some dark sky stuff, but it was pretty much overcast for the whole time we were there. And the one night it did actually clear. By the time it cleared, me and the wife had far too many glasses of wine to drive out anywhere, so we had to knock it on the head. Ah, Canada, lovely. Thank you for dropping in. Lovely to see you here. Just joined. I'm imaging the Andromeda galaxy. I've got about another half an hour of imaging, and then I'll be done. Just switching over to my blue filter. Been shooting RGB, luminance, and hydrogen alpha. Ah, nice, the seesaw. Okay. There's a few members of our astronomy group who got those, and to be fair, some of the images are pretty good. I think you've got to put a lot of time in to get anything half decent, but they're great for learning the night sky, grab and go. I'm personally not keen on them, but that's just me. But I'm a traditionalist. I like the old school astronomy. The pain. You got to feel the pain, haven't you? Amount of times I've nearly thrown my telescope over next door's garden with frustration. Oh, all the lights are gone out. The timer's on the lights. Bear with me. Telling me it's bedtime. Are you planning to image later, Pilot? You do any imaging? Yeah, down the rabbit hole. Yeah. I saw a funny meme once. I think it said something like, pay an extra $5 and write a receipt to show your wife. I thought that was brilliant. But I've got a very patient and understanding wife, I have to say. Yeah, some snow. We're actually due some snow here on Sunday night, so not as much as you get. Not as much as you get in Canada. It's a bit embarrassing, really, in the UK. Everything comes to a standstill with an inch of snow. We're just not prepared for it in our roads, but yeah. Are you okay? So how do you attach that filter then, Dean, to the onto the C Star? Because that's quite a narrow. Does the camera cope with it? Okay. Do you have to encrypt? I guess you're using it on EQ mode then, and doing like 1 minute, 2 minute. I'm not sure. You have to excuse my ignorance. What's the maximum exposure you can do with a C Star? So at the moment in the UK, well, out in my garden, it's just below -2 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty chilly. Ah, nice. 71F's a lovely scope. 585's a great camera. Yeah, great sensor. Yeah, I've got the 585. Really nice camera. 60 seconds on the S50, and is that? I guess that's in EQ mode. So I guess it's the same on the S30. Right, the first image has dropped for the blue filter. So I guess you have to do quite a lot though at 30 seconds to get a decent image. I guess that's a couple of hours worth, isn't it? I think it's good that they did the EQ mode, because obviously there was rotation issues when they had the limited time. But like I said, I think it's a great way for people to get into the hobby. It's a great way to learn the night sky. And for those who just want to pop something down and have a look around, I think it's fantastic. It is good. But as Pilot said, it's about, you go down that rabbit hole. You want him better image. You want him more clarity. Unfortunately, yeah, you do need to buy the full rig, and there is something quite satisfying about setting up the full rig. I think my wife would kill me if I bought another telescope. Yeah, if you want to just grab a couple of hours or something, yeah. Yeah, that is one frustration where the weather says one thing, you set up and there's just clouds, or the weather says it's going to be cloudy and it's clear, and then you don't think, oh, should I set up because the weather says it's going to be cloudy, and then you end up going to bed at 11 o'clock or something, it's still clear. That is a real frustration. There's a few, I've seen a few Facebook groups where they do like a kind of collaborative thing with the sea stars where you all image the same target and share the data, and you get like hours and hours and hours worth of data. That's always something to look into. Blue filter, not bringing much out, but obviously you can see some nice detail in the arms of Andromeda there, core. Shot some hydrogen earlier. You can definitely see the nebulosity there. That should come out nice. I've got a couple of hours of HA, and I was shooting some luminance earlier. Some nice detail coming out there in the luminance. Looks like there's a bit of cloud there. No. I'd say this is a great little plug-in if you ever get the opportunity to buy it. So the setup I'm using is a Ioptron M44 mount. I've got an Altair 70 EDQ quad, which is 350mm f5. And then I've got an Altair 26M camera, and I've got the Altair 7x2" filter wheel, and in there I've got luminance RGB and 3nm Altair hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen, and tonight I'm just shooting LRGB and hydrogen just to try and bring out some of that nebulosity in Andromeda, just to give it a bit of something else, because you can. Yeah, the Altair scope's been very nice. I'd say it's on par, if not slightly bit better than the William Optics GT81 that I used to use, and again that was a beautiful scope. It was just with the flattener, the fill flattener on it, reducer, it's just such a long telescope. I wanted something a little bit more compact, so I went for the quad, because obviously you don't need any sort of fill flattener on it. So yeah, I went for the quad. What are you running on your full rig, pilot? Oh, you did say, didn't you? Sorry, yeah, you said you got a 71. See you, Dean. Thanks for dropping in, mate. You got the ASCAR. ASCAR's nice. I've been looking at their 180 APO, is it? The little like kind of lens. I've been looking at those, but with the disaster we've had over Christmas, there's not a chance that I'll be able to buy that anytime soon. Like I said, our boiler packed in on Boxing Day, and we're getting a new one fitted. Get a new one fitted on Tuesday, but typically it's been during the coldest period I've had in the UK this winter so far. It's going to get down to -5 tonight, so hot water bottles and double blankets are the order of the day. I bet it gets down to like -10 in Canada, some parts, doesn't it? Probably lower than that in other parts. -15, wow. We're actually looking to come to that kind of neck of the woods, as we say in the UK. In 2027, we're doing a cruise that you get on in Seattle, and you go up into Alaska. But there is one of the stops in Canada. I can't remember where it is, but we're very much looking forward to booking that in the summer. Something to look forward to in 2027. -40, wow. I think the coldest I've ever seen it here in the UK, when I've been in my car and on the thermometer, it's been a -11. Is the coldest I've ever seen it here, and God, it was so cold. So -40 is just something else. But it's somewhere I've always wanted to go. It's on my list. It's just the 12-hour flight to Seattle is quite an off-put at the moment, but I'm sure we'll just try and sleep half of it. Are you quite rural where you live, Pilot? Do you get what, Bortle Sky? Are you? Because I'm like Bortle 5, so you get to see a fair few stars, but not as much as I'd like. Oh wow, Bortle 9. You don't see many stars then. So do you actually image from the garden, or do you go out to like a nearby and shoot from somewhere a little bit darker, or do you just do lots and lots of acquisition and just hope that the data comes through with the more images you take? Okay. Yeah, someone here used to have a massive telescope on their balcony when I first moved up here. Because we moved from a city into like a kind of semi-rural. When I first moved here, it used to be Bortle Free Skies. Oh, nice. The good viewing that is. I've got a very much north-south north, northeast, northwest. Anything south, I have to kind of move my equipment to the end of the driveway, which isn't the best because then it's in full view and risk of somebody driving into it. But yeah, when I first moved here, it was like Bortle 3, but as the area got developed and more people moved in, the Bortle scale has just gone up and up and up, and now it's like kind of top of Bortle 4 into Bortle 5. But yeah, Bortle 9. Yeah, we keep saying we're going to do that, but there's always a reason not to. And I think we just got to put the gear in the car and just say we're doing it. But God, I can't imagine sitting out somewhere quite rural at the moment. You're -15. Imagine being at -2 or 3 is bad enough. Sitting out somewhere in a cold field. So we're nearly finished now on the blue filter. It's going to switch to green. Do 15 minutes on that, and then I'll be wrapping up. Oh, I've just got to shoot the flat frames, which I'll go outside and do. I just grab my what I do my flats with, so I can show you. Just bear with me. So a few people have asked on my videos what I shoot my flat frames with. A friend of mine has got a 3D printer. Yeah, -5 are probably, yeah, limit. Yeah, I agree with you there, mate. But what I actually use is a N.I.N.A tracing pad, which has gone into this holder that a friend of mine 3D printed for me. He's actually done an insert as well that can go into my ED60, but this is set up for my quad. So I literally just place that down on the tube and it holds it in place, and I power it all through USB through one of these Skywatcher battery. But obviously I could just plug that into the laptop if I wanted, but I just find that's really useful and handy to shoot the flat frames. And you can control the level of brightness as well, which is obviously a benefit. So what I have done though, because on the tube, on the flat panel itself, it's obviously it's LED and it's got quite a few, what I'd say, pixelated. I don't know how else to describe it, to be honest, but it's got a number of like how the LED panel works. So I've just put a piece of paper in the front, and that gives a really nice flat light. Which is perfect for doing the flats. So that's been a really useful piece of kit. Yeah. Yeah, they're really good. I've got an A5 one that I use for with my Newtonian, but rather than a piece of paper on that one, I use a lampshade diffuser. Because the A4 panel's a little bit smaller than the diameter of my Newtonian, I find that kind of diffuser does enough to distribute the light across to give me a good flat. But anything to make things easier in this hobby that's full of difficulties. But yeah, I have put if anyone's interested, I can put a link to that 3D printed thing. My friend sells them on eBay, so I think they're £15 UK, and to take the hassle out of it, it's good. It's £15 well spent. Right, it's just moving on to the green filter, going through the focus run. For my autofocusing, the settings I've got for this is because it's got such a short focus barrel, it doesn't need much movement, so I've actually only got a step size of 25 and backlash overshoot of 65, and I found that gives me the nice curve. My GT81, that used to be 75, and that was set at 100. So the RGB, I'm shooting 60 seconds tonight. I tend to do RGB at that anyway. Luminance I would normally do for 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes, but because it's a full moon, I've just restricted that again to 60 seconds and just done more of them. From a narrow band, from a SH&O, I tend to shoot between 3 and 5 minutes. I've done 5 minutes on that. Oh, or do you mean the exposures for the autofocus? If it's the autofocus, I do 3-second exposures from the RGB and 5-second exposures for the narrowband, because they're 3nm, so they really are quite narrow. Oh, right, lights, yeah, yes, I've said that. If there was no moon, I'd absolutely be hammering the luminance and RGB. I'd really go to town on it and get a lot of data, but with the gradient, it's just, I'm actually going to see what it comes out like in a stack. We'll see. I was really struggling on what target to image. I really didn't know what to image. I've done so many things over and over and over again. I'd already done the Heart and Soul this year. Flaming Star was too close to the moon. Done Pac-Man. Everything around Orion, it just wasn't worth imaging due to the moon location. And I thought, well, Andromeda's sort of on the other side. It will have some gradient, and you shouldn't shoot broadband. Shouldn't shoot broadband on a full moon, but you know what? Rules are made to be broken, aren't they? Yeah, the guiding's been really good, considering it's full moon. The mounts really perform well, really has performed well. I've been really pleased with it. I do like harmonic. It just makes things so much easier. Now that shot looks a little bit, let's have a look at, got quite a bit of blow this up a bit. No, there's no, I was thinking of some cloud coming over there, but it's actually alright. Yeah, the Hem 44 is great. I don't know how many of you shoot with harmonic mounts, but the amount of people that don't actually balance their telescope before putting it onto the mount, or know where your balance point is to go over the axis. So what I did with mine, excuse me, I've got a cough. What I did with mine was put it on a rolling pin and just moved it up and down a rolling pin to kind of get that center point of balance. And then what you do is you put that point of balance then over the axis of your harmonic mount, and that kind of balances your scope in deck, and it should then generally perform okay. But the amount of people who don't understand that kind of point, and the guiding seems to be a bit erratic, that's probably why. So it's always worth looking at. And also it's the amount of aggression that you can do with harmonic mounts. They'd like a lot of aggression in the settings, and I was having a conversation with Andy earlier, Andy of Astro. See, my RA aggression's up to 90 and my deck's up to 80, and I'm doing 1.5 second exposures. And I would say 1.5 seconds probably the maximum you want to do with your guiding, but you can definitely up your aggression in RA and deck, and you'll find a huge improvement on your guiding if you do that with a harmonic mount. Oh, nice mount, the AM3. Yeah, yeah. It's I did look at one of those as well when I was buying the Zhui mount, the Zhui 17, but it was just the weight limit on the AM3 that wasn't quite enough for me. But they're a really good mount. They are really consistent. M42, yeah. I need to. I don't get a south view. It's so frustrating because we live in a semi-detached townhouse and it's 3 stories, so I don't get much of a south view at all. And if I do, it's got to be at the end of my driveway, and I just get a bit nervous about leaving all my gear at the end of the drive, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I do need to get some on Orion. I really wanted to do the Bogeyman this year. Ah, nice. Yeah, good. I think the only was it just the weight limit difference between the 3 and the 3N. Was it just it could carry more weight without the counterweight or something? That's all I can seem to remember changing. Yeah, the Zhui stuff, I do like it. I think they kind of tie you in though, don't they, with all the air, etc. But I do like their cameras where you get the guide camera and the camera built in. I do like the convenience of that. Okay. So it's a good capacity for a small mount, really, isn't it? He's good. I think that's like the because obviously when I bought, those of you who know my channel, I looked at the Zhui 17. I got the Zhui 17. I also looked at the 14, which I think is similar to the AM3. Right, I've got about 10 minutes left, and then I'm going to yeah, 3K. Yeah, that's one thing I do like. I've got all mine running off one plug. So what I've done is bought a twin 12-volt like kind of cigarette or cigar lighter adapter. So I've got one powering the SV Bonnie 241, which powers everything, and then I've got a second 12-volt that is one that powers my laptop through USB-C. So it's like a 12-volt cigar lighter into a little transformer that goes to a USB-C, and that powers my laptop. So it's so convenient. One plug, straight in, everything's powered. When I first started the hobby, honestly, I could tie myself up in cables. When I used to pack away, I used to drive my wife balmy because I'd be throwing in cables into the house. £10. Okay. Yeah, the amount of cables. Oh my word. But you learn as you go, don't you? Anything to make it easy. For those of you who don't know how I got into this hobby, so my background is photography. I used to do weddings, portraits, sport photography, any kind of photography really. And then COVID hit, And I've always had a fascination with the night sky. I've always enjoyed the night sky because when I used to be a young kid, where we used to live, we used to back onto a golf course, and it was quite rural, so we used to see loads of stars. And I had a very, very basic, probably some of you might not have even heard of them, but like a Tasco telescope, which was probably a 3-inch telescope and a focal length of about 250 millimeters. It wasn't the best. You could see some stars, and that was about it, and the moon. But I enjoyed like kind of star hopping. And then when we moved to here, it was like a Bortle 3. You could see loads of stars, so I used to sit out in the garden with a pair of binoculars and enjoy those. But then COVID hit, and I couldn't go out doing my photography work or do any sort of photography. And I thought, well, what can I image? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to come out of this COVID period with a new skill. And we're talking about, well, what kind of skills, like, you know, as a family, what do you want to learn? And I thought, you know what, I'm going to learn astrophotography. And started off with a DSLR attached on an Altaz mount attached to a back of a Mac 127, and took some my first images were of the beehive cluster, and also obviously the moon. And then I tried to image on an Altaz mount to image M51, and I can't share it with you now. I wish I prepared this, but if those of you do follow me on Facebook, I think it's as my first image on Facebook. If not, I'll put it up there just so you can have a look and have a laugh. But I was really proud of it at the time because I was taking 10-second exposures, and I think I did about 2 hours of these with a DSLR, and you can actually see it, like, you know, M51. I was really proud of it at the time, but looking back now, you're like, God, that's bloody awful. But and that's how it got me started, and then started watching YouTube, learning off various people the kind of equipment you needed. And my wife was very much like, well, how much is this going to cost? And I said, I don't really know. And then we started looking into it, and budgets were agreed, and started selling off some of my old. Okay, nice. Yeah, that's good. A lot of people do that, don't they? Get the retirement money and invest it in the hobby. And I sold off a few lenses and a few cameras and all my bits and pieces, and managed to get to enough money. And I bought a Skywatcher ED80. I bought the Skywatcher EQ35 mount, and I bought like an SV Bonnie guide scope and learned how to do that. And that's how I started. And that's, like, as many people say, that's how the rabbit hole opened. And then you just, over time, you get better cameras, better equipment, better telescopes. And then you start reading it. Well, my images are okay, but how can I push them that little bit further? And then you get to a point where aperture you need more. I need more aperture, so I invested in a Newtonian telescope, bought one of those, and yeah, now I've got quite a collection of telescopes. But yeah, it's a fun hobby. It's something interesting. You're looking back over millions of years, aren't you? In some instances, like now looking at Andromeda, which is like 3 million light years away over, and you're looking at something that's, you're looking back in history. So yeah, it's been fun, and over time I've obviously started the YouTube, which is just a bit of fun for me, just like sharing the hobby, hopefully helping other people with the experiences I've had. There's some people out there that you just can't compete with, like in terms of doing their reviews and stuff. So it's just nothing that I'm interested in treading or even trying to. But I just want to share my kind of imaging sessions, and hopefully people pick up some tips and hints, and maybe, I might try that and see what images they get. So that's where I'm very much angled with my YouTube, just sharing my experiences. I do some work for Sky at Night, which I really enjoy, writing articles, get to test some new telescopes out, some mounts out, write some kind of skills for stargazers, and that's been fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed that. So yeah, it's been good. I don't regret going down this rabbit hole, I've got to say. What have you got there, pilot? Sorry. Oh, in a 6-inch dub. Yeah, nice. Nice. You need about a 12-inch though, don't you? They gotta say, like, you know, if you get above 10-inch, 12-inch Dobsonian, you really do see the night sky with your naked eye, and that's something that you can't beat. I know me and my son, when we, like I said, when we first moved here, bought all three skies, we were looking up at Andromeda, and yes, it looked like a fuzzy blur, but you saw Andromeda with the naked eye, and that's something you know can't take away. And we had a good look at Jupiter earlier, and we took a couple of images of Jupiter. Which is always mind-blowing. I do like looking at the planets. But I find that the hardest. Planetary imaging is so difficult compared to this imaging. I just can't put it into words how much more difficult I find doing the planets. So I've got 3 minutes left. I'm going to wrap up the stream now. I just want to say, in fact, this is my very first live stream, so I hope you found it interesting. Yes, mate, yes. Here we go. I'll be doing more of these streams when I get the time to sit here and share my imaging sessions with you. It's been great for you all to drop in. Thank you so much for everyone. Your support is really appreciated. And today I actually went over the 1,000 subscribers. So really chuffed about that. Now I've got to just push it on a bit more, and hopefully more people enjoy seeing the night sky as much as I do. So I was going to say good night. Wish you clear skies. Happy New Year. I hope 2026 brings you loads of fun in this fantastic hobby. Gain 0. I've always shot a Gain 100 with this particular camera and the offset of 26. Interesting to know why you think go for Gain 0. The reason why I haven't gone for longer exposures on the RGB is purely because it's a full moon, and the gradient would be horrific. And I'm just, rather than trying to kind of do longer exposures, I've just got more images. I'll try that. Thanks for that, J4. I will have a look at that. I'm always, every day is a school day, as they say. So I will definitely look at that. Thank you for that, mate. I'll have a look at that. I appreciate that. Yes, I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you, everybody. Lovely having you here. Take care. Like I said, have a fantastic start to 2026, and I shall see you all here. And look at that, it's just come up. Are you sure you're finished? And to be honest, yes, it's coming up to midnight. I've had a fair few wines, and I think it's time for me to go to bed. So good night, everybody, and I shall see you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye now.